And we're back. So this is the fourth time recording this video. Unfortunately, I didn't like what I had the last few times, try to edit it and fix it up. So we're gonna go to the fundamentals of the Taito Type X again and see what we got. So I'm gonna be recording this with my phone, unfortunately. I got everything set up here. So first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna escape to get out of this. 1 second. And we're gonna go ahead and just pull out of this. I was asked to go ahead and show how you can add some games to this, so I'll be doing that and going through a few more things of the system. I don't know what I went through last time because it's been such a while. I just wanted to make sure I had this video available for the viewer who asked me for it. So let me go ahead and power this off. It's gonna be a boring procedure here. So as I'm powering this off and you hear that fan, I have a fan that is to make it actually more silent. And I'm not sure if that's working or not. Give me a second. As this shuts down and I'm sure that it's off, I'm gonna unplug it from the wall. You could put a power switch on it. I guess I probably should have done that, but I'm used to doing this method. See, it's off now. Now you gotta unplug it from the wall because that JVS still has power. And when the JVS has power, it's not going to let the system start properly. Like it's going to start up and it's going to go to a flashing, blinking light. So I lowered it onto the ground so that I won't get so much noise. So you will get to basically just a DOS prompt with that little flashing cursor if you don't unplug the system and let all the power leave the JVS. Now you can tell that the power left the JVS because there's a green light behind the system. And when that green light is on, if you restart the system, for me, I guess because the BIOS is modded and the hard drive may not start on time or it's too slow or whichever. But when it shuts down, it won't want to reboot. So I explained that in my previous video. Joystick, but today is not about gameplay. So I'm going to show you some of the ways, or one of the first ways you can do this. I'm going to go to Explorer and give a preview here. Now you have these 3 drives and your system should be similar if you're using the multi-system. The first one is basically the boot and the Attract EXE, which is the program that displays all of the graphics on the screen, the GUI. This joystick key is here for you to set up your buttons. Now, I've changed this joystick key and it still didn't work for me properly. I believe maybe because this is an appliance operating system or something like that. Sometimes it likes to revert. I don't know if it's because of that or the board itself, but I try not to add any keys here. I will set up my joystick or use an Xbox joystick or something like that. That's already gonna have the button set to what you want it to be. You can check out your games in your games folder. This has the games by what system it is. And you can see Cave, CPS 1, 2, 3, driving, things like that. And the Taito games are down here. So I actually added Mario Kart DX and I kind of just copy and pasted it into games. Now this is going to be like the first way that you can do this. First thing I did was I downloaded Mario Kart. I created a new folder under games. I extracted it here, even though I should probably move it. Now, in order for me to play this, because I didn't add it to my list, I'm going to show you another way that you can boot games. But I copied everything here. I'm gonna leave that screen for a second. And the way I start the Mario Kart, I launch it through Technoparrot. You may or may not get an error there. It may have to reboot. That's for me. I don't know if it's like that for everybody. I had to reload the Technoparrot a couple of times to get it to boot. If it kicks me out again, I might have to restart and go directly into Technoparrot. I think that's just the error with my multi-system and not everybody's. So I went ahead and I added Mario Kart to this list. If you see here, so let me find my mouse. I went here, I went to add game. I chose the Mario Kart that I had downloaded online. I hit add game and then I browsed the folder. So I'm not gonna do that right now, but I think you would probably get the drift of how that ran. And then, like under library, after that, the Mario Kart popped up. And when I wanna start Mario Kart, I basically come here into Technoparrot and I launch the game. Now, when you do it this way, you're gonna get all the back end. It's gonna show you the DOS prompts and everything and how it runs. It's not gonna be as seamless as running it directly from the track mode screen, but it works. And I'm trying to keep it simple for people that may not understand Windows as much and things like that to load with this. As you can see, this takes a long time to load because I'm using a regular hard drive. If we give it a few seconds, it's gonna go through everything. That's what it's doing right now. And these are the people here that adjusted the game for it to work. And basically, this should be what we got. I'll just let it run for a second. Now, this game is not in my my list. That was one of the ways I would add the game. So I'm gonna pull this off and go ahead and go to another one, to a second way that you could add games. Now, as we come back, another second way, and I may or may not put a third way, but the second way is kind of easy. What you could do, if you go here, and mine is in, if I go by year, basically, it should be 2020s, which we seem to be in. I have Fightcade. In Fightcade, you can load your own ROMs, or you can quote unquote get a ROM. Now let's see if I can actually connect to Fightcade, because this is where I was having problems playing players online. But Fightcade has a lot of different things going on here, which you got to create a login. Once you create the login and a password, you're able to get to this screen, to the menu here. And once you get to the menu, for example, you can have 3 games here that are preloaded. I pretty much stay offline, so I was having a hard time connecting to them, so they can't see me. So what I would do, I would come and download a game, and then I would just hit test game. Now, you can always fundamentals, Alt Enter, I should get full screen. This is really for you to test the games, but in reality, I'll come here and I'll just play. I hit escape to go back. You can map your game inputs. I don't have the joystick plugged in right now, but you know, you're gonna do your coin start, up, down, left, right, weak punch, medium punch, strong punch, weak kick, medium kick, strong kick. And that's about it for this. Now, let me show, let me just close this one. Let me show what happens here. So, because I already have, you can only have 3 games in here at one time, basically. You're going to find your game, but you pretty much going to have to exit something. You can't have more than 3. So, say I wanted to play Champion Edition, which I would play Hyper Fighting instead, but if you look, it'll go here to the ROM manager. It will download the ROM. And this is after you start searching the games. And then it should, see, it puts it here. Now, this is where you have the opportunity to join these guys and play. But like I said before, I usually come here and I just go to test. I just go to test and run the game that I want. Alter Enter. I get the full screen effect. I get the full screen. After, of course, I have my joystick set up. The most amazing punch of all time. There is some kind of streaming glitch here. Probably under the video settings. Let's see if I can do VSync. That's why I'm probably seeing that line. This will be a second way that I will go ahead and play on here. I haven't turned this on in so long. I almost feel like the first time I went to the arcade. Let me see if it took off that little smoothing glitch. Now this is where I kind of like FPGA. It's just, it's not off, but it's off, you know? The slowdowns and everything are right, but something about it feels differently. Maybe if I put it to a CRT. But hey, you already have it on your system, so you don't gotta do nothing else. So, shutting this down. That was my second way will be Fightcade. And there's another way that you can also run Fightcade without going through all that drama. If you can find it in the location itself, there's another version of Fightcade where you can just play on your own. Go back into this menu here. Now, most things you want to do are going to be from Explorer. You can see this thing is packed. And Explorer has, under Explorer, like I was saying, in the E drive for me in games, you really got to learn the structure of how this thing is going down. And there's also MAME in here too. Now, if you find the location of the ROMs, you can grab some of the ROMs and put them in there and update that as well. Now, a third way, which should work for your system, is going to be by adding something and kind of scraping it or whichever. So I'll try to do a brief explanation here. So let me go back to where I was, Explorer. Now, one of the things you could do is copy a MAME ROM. So that should be a third way to go ahead and copy the ROM from MAME. So that'll be an easy way. If you go into, shouldn't be under system, it should be E games, and you copy the games into where you want. So like this zip right here, this is like a MAME ROM. You can look right here. These are the ROMs. These all look familiar. And these folders structure is for different versions of the ROMs and hacks and different ROMs, different versions of the ROM, like I said. So you find the ROM online, you grab it and you drag it into this folder. You're going to get it from downloads. I don't have nothing in downloads right now, but I'm just trying to make an example. You go and you can just drag it. For example, I want to put in 80s games. Just use your imagination with me. And I drag this ROM. Now, once I get the ROM there, say I wanted to scrape what I was talking about. So I was saying it being in the 80s. These were all the folders of where you have graphics and the videos where everything goes. So what you would do is hit generate collection ROM list like this. And if you added something to those folders, you could scrape it and it would download what you're missing. Now, if you're still missing something, you could do it manually, but you got to fill in, you got to put the things in the folders. Once you add everything to the folders that you want, in this case would only be the ROMs is what I'm talking about. Say I scraped and I got into Bad Dudes, or I created Bad Dudes or whichever. You could always hit Alt and just switch around to something else. Like you see how I hit Alt there? I brought up this menu, or was it Tab? Yeah, it was Tab. Select new machine. If I want to switch to something else and I have it downloaded, I can pick a different game. So if you put the games in the folders, you can always just find the game and run it like regularly. You put it in the folders with the other games. It will bring up the games that you have saved in there. And you can just switch to another game. Like, you don't need to be all advanced and have to do it from that menu. As you could see, I switched to Aerial Fighters 3. And then if you have a problem, you could just input and change your controls and change your controls from there. So that will be the third way that I would go ahead and just grab games and put them on the system. So that's mostly everything. I mean, to simplify or attempt to simplify what's going on here. It's all about knowing what's in what folder. And most of the games are in games folder. Once you grab them and drag them, you could do that. Or you still have your emulators here. So if you go to your folders and you pull up Explorer, you want it to go straight to main, I mean, it should still technically work. So you can do that as well. So I'm hoping that this helps you guys. And no, sometimes when you close this last window, the main window of Explorer, it's gonna take you back to a track mode. So that's about it. I mean, if you install something else, you actually get to a desktop and you install it. If you wanted to go to the desktop from here, you could still do it because you're technically in the browser. You just go to desktop. If you install something new, you can double click on it and it'll run. And when you leave, you know, you're back in the track mode. So hopefully this helped people out, helped the viewer out with some of the settings in here. I'll try to script through this video and probably shrink it some or make it, you know, not palatable for the time. But that's most of the fundamentals of the system. So on that note, hope you guys have a good day, good holidays. Thanks for bearing with me. Hope this video was helpful. Peace.